You see this? No, not the logo, the twinkling blue effect behind it. Let's make it in Blender. First, let me give you an idea of how this will work, then we'll go through it in detail. This is just going to take the form of a shader applied to a flat plane. We're going to use a noise texture, and we're going to look at its intensity values at all points that are at a distance of exactly 1 from the center. Imagine that we take those intensity values and stretch them out radially, both toward and away from the center. Then we'll have that pattern fade gradually into nothing beyond a certain radius. If we change the W value for the underlying noise texture, we'll make the pattern twinkle. And if we change the scale value of the noise, we can control the level of detail. Start with a new project, use the Cycles engine, and change the world background color from the default gray to pitch black. By the way, I'm going to assume that you've got the built-in Node Wrangler add-on enabled. Then add a plane. Give it a material and go to the shader editor. Change the view so that we're looking straight down on the plane and switch to viewport shading. Get rid of the principal BSDF and add a texture coordinate node. Since the distance of each point from the center is a value of key importance here, let's add a vector math node that calculates length and hook it up to the object coordinates. If we view the output of that node, we can see the intensity is based on the distance from the center. Now add a noise texture node. Make it 4-dimensional so we can play with the W value and give it a scale value of 3. Remember that the only parts of the noise texture we ever actually want are the values of the points that are at a distance of exactly 1 from the center. If you scale points in the object coordinate system, or in any coordinate system of this sort, you're basically moving it either closer or farther from the center. So we're going to scale all the object coordinate points in such a way that they move either closer or farther from the center to end up at exactly the distance 1. If a point were at a distance of, say, 2 from the center, and we scaled it by 1 over 2, we would end up at a distance of 1. If we were at distance 3 and we scaled it by 1 over 3, we would also end up at distance 1. That's the case for any distance, so that's the formula we're going to use. Add a math node with the divide function and use it to compute 1 over the distance from the center. Then add another vector math node. This time we'll use it to scale the object coordinates by 1 over the distance from the center, and that will be the vector input for the noise texture. Now we've got the radiating pattern we were looking for. Let's boost the contrast on it by using a math node with the power function. Set the exponent to 2. Let's add the distance from the center to this so that it will fade to white the farther it gets from the center. Let's use this as the factor input in a mix shader node that mixes a blue emission shader with a transparent shader. We're almost there now. Let's adjust the strength of the emission shader so that it's bright at the center and dark at the fringes. Add a color ramp with the length node as input. Flip the color ramp and set it to B-spline interpolation mode, and slide the second color stop to a position about 1/3 of the way from the left. Use this as the strength in the emission shader. It's too dark overall, so add a math node to multiply that strength by 5. Lastly, enter hash frame as the W value in the noise texture. Now it twinkles if we press play, but it twinkles way too quickly. Let's divide frame number by 80 to slow it down. And that's it. Twinkle, twinkle. Remember, you can use the scale value in the noise texture to change the level of detail. Have a good one.